Hey, this is Eric Metamar here, and all right, where should we begin? Well, I guess first off, I should thank you for spending your hard-earned money on this course. I'm here to teach you how to wholesale, probably teach you how to wholesale better, quicker, and faster than anybody else around. And I only say that because it wasn't long ago I was sitting in your shoes, buying other wholesaling courses, studying them extensively and getting nowhere. And that's kind of the thing that got me into this business in the first place, I guess you could say. But yeah, I'd just like to thank you for plunking down your hard-earned money to purchase this course. And you know, the other thing that comes to mind is this really a course? Hell, I don't know what to call it, really. I mean, calling it a course sounds way too weird to me, and it might almost sounds like I know what I'm talking about and I'm smart. I guess I am smart and I do know what I'm talking about, but course just sounds way too Carlton Sheets to me. So from this point forward, we'll call it something else. How about one investor helping out another? Because that's really what this is. Because if you really couldn't tell yet by that huge opening and me being so sure of myself and what to say, I'm still a bit wet behind the ears at this whole guru thing or whatever it is that you'd want to call it. So please, I beg of you, take it easy on me. I assure you the information will be gold, but the presentation may be a little lackluster at times as I'm not real experienced at speaking. I don't do speaking gigs. In fact, I didn't get into this to run around the country doing seminars. I'm an investor first, and investing's how I make my money. I just choose to do this because I wanted a way to be able to offer people the same advice that I got, but wasn't able to get through any other means other than pure experience and having an excellent mentor. So with that out of the way, let's move on. Now, one of the things I need you to keep in mind is I wouldn't be talking to you right now if I wasn't 100% sure that what I've got to share has the potential to drastically change your life. I wouldn't even be here if I hadn't seen with my own two eyes the dramatic changes in my own life that wholesaling brought. It's not like I really went out and chose wholesaling, I guess. Wholesaling kind of chose me in a way because I needed a way to be able to make money without all of the normal resources, which we'll go over in a minute here. And basically, I'm here to teach you how to do what I did. And the only way that I know how to do that is to tell you what I did. So I'm going to take you step by step through everything that led to my success, and hopefully you can duplicate that and do well for yourself. So without further ado, I'm freaking out a little if you can't tell. I kind of feel like I should have prepared like some sort of monologue, or at least like I feel like kind of like Jay Leno without the cool lisp, like the, so guys, how about that hurricane? I dated a girl named Katrina once, and I mean, that's terrible. I promise I'll stop. But that's how I feel. I feel like I'm on stage and I need a monologue, and but I promise I'll stop. Because I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, didn't fork over your hard-earned money hoping to hear a wholesaling expert sit and crack you up with a slew of hurricane jokes. So just know I'll try to contain myself from this point forward, because most of you, at least, aren't here to hear me tell hurricane jokes. Of course, you're here to finally learn how to close some damn deals. I mean, that's where I was at. I wanted to start closing some deals instead of talking about it all the time. One of the things I used to bug me was when I would go over and I was always talking a big real estate game, I would talk to my friends and family about, I'm going to do this, do that. And I always had these like pipe dreams, and I always had this sinking feeling in my stomach that the moment I left the room they were whispering like, man, this guy, he's full of it. They didn't believe a word I said. So I know that a lot of you guys are here just to start closing some damn deals instead of just talking about it at the time. A lot of you are here to start making more money than you ever have before, so you can quit your job. So you don't have to go to work every day. I can tell you that's once you get to that point, and it's not hard. Once you understand all the things I'm going to share with you, you'll find that it's really pretty easy. And I'm sure, if you can't tell so far, I'm not that bright of a dude, but I do know how to wholesale like crazy. So I've got a lot of exciting stuff to share with you. And you know, some of you are just here because you're like me and you were frustrated with always talking about doing deals. I mean, now the same people who used to giggle and chuckle when I walked in, or actually when I left the room, they probably giggled and chuckled when I walked in too. I'm making more in an afternoon than they'll make all year. And I'm not joking about that. I'm not trying to brag or boast or impress upon you. Or impress you, but as my favorite, one of my favorite motivational speakers would say, Jim Rohn, also Tony Robbins' mentor, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to impress upon you that you can do this. And if I can show you how a schmuck like me can make 85 grand in an afternoon, I can't even imagine what you're going to be able to do. Now, because I don't know you personally or what you're capable of, I can't promise you're going to earn $85,000 in a day like I did. And it wasn't really a day, you know. It was like put the deal together, close the deal a couple weeks later. But basically, I was into it for about 4 hours, so it wasn't even really like a real day. And I mean, that's like $20,000 an hour, but that kind of sounds a little too hypey to put on paper. So I can't even promise that you'll make 85 grand this year. A lot of you, you know, you might not make 85 grand this year. Though, if you do the stuff that I tell you to, with blind faith, and just hammer away, I would really question your actions if you don't make at least 85 grand this year, because you should be able to step up to the big time pretty quickly and start making the kind of money that I'm making. So I can't promise what you're going to make, but there is one thing I can promise, and that is if you're ready to start investing and you're in a position where the reason you're choosing wholesaling is because you need money, not because you have it, then I can promise you that you are on the right track, and wholesaling is without a doubt the quickest and easiest way that I've discovered, at least, to turn that into money. Because truth be told, I don't know about you, but one of the first roadblocks that I noticed back before I started doing a bunch of wholesale deals was that most investors who I was running into, they had the two C's, as I like to call them, capital and credit, working for them when they got into the business. And if you're one of those lucky ones, I want to congratulate you right now, because I certainly wasn't. And that's why I had to learn how to invest without cash or credit. And that's why I'm here to show you today how to invest without cash or credit, because this, truth be told, the only way I understand a lot of the other investing methods, and I've used some of the other investing methods since, but the one that I really take to heart and understand thoroughly, and pride myself in being an expert at, is wholesaling. So with that said, we will keep moving forward. I hope I'm not boring you guys to death yet. So as I was saying, what I'm here to teach you is the ways to invest without cash or credit. Because one of the things that frustrated me most was this almost complete lack of insight that a lot of the gurus were offering back when I got started in this business. And that was, when you're flat freaking broke, you really can't pay your bills. I mean, you can't do anything about it. You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip, as they say. And when you can't pay your bills, then you get really bad credit. So it's kind of like the two go together like ebony and ivory. I mean, when you don't have money, then normally no credit follows shortly thereafter. And then life gets to be a real pain, and for a lot of people, it limits them as to the amount of money they can make. And if that's you, then I'm really happy to have you here, because I'm going to show you how to make a ton of money without cash or credit. And that was one of the things that excited me so much when I first heard about wholesaling. It was one of the things I was so happy about. Never mind, scratch that, because I'm jumping ahead here. I was just lying, looking back with rose-colored glasses a little, I guess. Because when I first heard about wholesaling, I wasn't really happy at all. In fact, I can vividly remember thinking, now, why would anybody buy a piece of, because from what it sounded like to me, wholesaling was basically selling a piece of paper for 10 or 20 grand, and I was thinking, like, why would anybody want to buy a piece of paper for a house and pay me $10,000 or $20,000 for it? And I thought it was the biggest crock of shit I ever heard, if I'm being honest. I mean, why would these so-called investors out there, why wouldn't they just go find their own damn deals instead of paying me to find them? I didn't get it. I didn't understand why people would want us as wholesalers. I didn't get that there's plenty of deals to go around, but the really good deals, as wholesalers, we're paid to get out there and hustle deals. We're paid for our relationships with other people. I didn't get all that. Thank God I didn't let those two stupid questions, and there was a multitude of other ones, but the two I mentioned, like, why is someone willing to pay me? Thank God I didn't let those sink in too deep. Because it turns out my only real saving grace in all this, that got me beyond those voices in my head, ended up being the guy who introduced me to wholesaling. I mean, this guy, I won't mention his name, just because I don't know, it doesn't seem right to me. But at the time, he was a punk kid. He was a young buck, and luckily for me, I'm someone who's very evidence driven when it comes to someone saying that they can do something, and looking at their life and seeing some congruency that they are doing something right. Because, I mean, this dude had the Porsche. When I first met him, I didn't know what he had, but I knew he had some sort of big-ass boat at the marina, because a friend of mine had been out on it with him. He had, like, the giant McMansion, if you will, on one of the 18 golf courses. Hell, I don't know which one of the 18. I'm not going to lie and say it was the 8th green or something like that. But the fact is, the thing that stuck with me was this dude had money and I didn't have money. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Here was a dude telling me how he got his money, and all I had to do was listen, rinse, and repeat, and I could get money too. And I mean, even a dipshit like me could figure that out. If you want to get rich, you do what rich people do. And for the first time ever, this wholesaling thing he was telling me about sounded like something I could actually do. Because I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way that I did, but normally people who were flat broke like I couldn't do what rich people do. So rich people do things like buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds, businesses. They did things that got money. I think you get the picture. And I couldn't do those things when I didn't have money. They used their money to make money. I'm sure you've all heard that old saying, you got to have money to make money. Well, I used to believe that until I found wholesaling, and now I know it's false. But unfortunately, using money to make money wasn't really an option, because when you're still paying bills with warnings attached to every one of them, as I like to say, like, hey, with final notice, pay off scumbag, or we're shutting your shit off, or it's like you don't really think about your 401k or your mutual fund. It's like, let me think. Buy 2 shares of Oracle or pay my damn electric bill. It's not really an option for you at the time if you're broke. It wasn't an option for me for sure. So it really wasn't much of a decision. let's see here. I'm drawing a blank. Where was I going with this? Somebody help me out. All right, I guess I better pause for a second so I can collect my thoughts, and then I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I tried to review this, and I'm having a little trouble with my recorder. I'm not in some fancy studio, basically holed up in my basement at my house. If I'm being honest, it wasn't ever like the picture I had in mind of what you being a guru or an expert was like when I would buy these systems. I wonder how many of the people I listened to, I had a feeling that most of them actually spent more time and effort on the fancy equipment than they did on actually learning to master wholesaling, as I've tried to do. But the last thing I guess I remember saying was that I was skeptical as hell about wholesaling. And it at first it seemed like something that was too good to be true. And the young guy that was telling me about it, when I looked at his life and what he had, it seemed to be, by all standards, exactly what I was looking for, other than the fact that I don't golf. And I've heard boats are a pain in the ass. Since then, I've bought my boat. I don't have a massive yacht by any means, but I got a fun little boat that I get to go hang out with my wife for the afternoon. A lot of afternoons, in fact, in the summer, whenever it's nice here in Michigan, of course. But his life was better than mine. He had money I didn't. I was broke. He was rich. I mean, that's like enough said, really. And God bless the kid, because for some reason he was doing his absolute best to just and he had no reason to do this. He was doing his absolute best to just jam it in my skull that wholesaling was something that I could do or anyone else could do if we just followed the simple plan. And the thing is even once I had set my skepticism aside, I still couldn't understand exactly what wholesaling about and exactly why it worked. And then finally, and I'm very happy that he did this, with a little bit of prodding, he laid it out for me in a way that made perfect sense. It kind of was like one of those aha moments. And the way that he described it and the mechanism of wholesaling basically boiled down to the types of leverage that we can use in the world to get wealthy. And I think that you guys will agree with all three of these, but if you're like me, you won't have heard about the type of leverage that we use as wholesalers. And the first type of leverage that he explained was money leverage, which rich people and people with good credit, of course, use things to buy. They use to buy things like apartment buildings, businesses, most of the shit that I don't have a chance in hell at buying if I'm broke. Those are the types of things that money leverage have. When you don't have money, it's very difficult to money leverage. And when you don't have credit, it's very difficult to money leverage because people don't want to loan you money. You may have heard of money leverage in the typical format, and that's borrowing other people's money to make more money, or as that slimeball Carlton Sheets used to say, OPM, baby, other people's money. And then the next one, and this was the one that, as I got to thinking about it, kind of pissed me off a little, and that was time leverage. Because to me, at least, time leverage, as he was describing it sounded a whole like how, it sounded a whole like how all the rich bastards were getting rich using chumps like me to come work for them and put money in their pocket. Because the way that I understood it, at least, was time leveraging was what was happening to me at that moment. Someone was paying me $10 an hour for my time. Then while I'm busting my ass doing some job I freaking despise, they're sitting back in their office, and they're probably not actually doing this, but the way that I think about it is that they're sitting back in their office with their Cristal and eating crackers with Grey Poupon on. You know what I mean? Like, they've got it easy, and I'm out there earning them $100 an hour for every $10 an hour they spend on me. And I was just like, fuck that. No, never mind. I'm not supposed to say that. Edit this out. Eric, take a note. Anyway, back to business here. The third type of leverage was another. This is the one that I didn't hear of, and it is, as it turns out, how we make our money as wholesalers. He called it relationship leverage. And to me, what finally connected the dots, so hopefully it will for you as well, is it sounded like I'd be a real estate matchmaker, matching up buyers who wanted to save money on real estate with sellers who were willing to sell at a discount. In other words, matching up buyers who wanted to save money with sellers who could sell and save them money. So that's what I thought was pretty cool. That's what really resonated with me. I guess you did I just say that? Resonated. Whew, resonated. I guess all that wholesaling money is finally going to my head. That's all I can think of, because now I'm even like using rich people words. Yeah, I promise I'll try not to do that again. Anyway, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, relationship leverage. I don't want to use resonated again, so made sense. How's that? That's good words. All right. What really made sense to me was that everybody wanted to save money on a house. We want to save money on everything. I mean, hell, my mom still drives halfway across town just to save 5 cents a gallon on gas. Never mind the fact, completely forgetting the fact, that it cost her 2 gallons of gas at $2 a gallon to get to this special gas station where she saves 5 cents. I mean, gas is like, what, almost $2.50 right now, and it's unbelievable that she would do that. But she does it because she wants to save money, and that's what's so cool, is that everybody wants to save money. So to me, what that meant was I'd never run out of people I could wholesale houses to, because once I learned how to find houses, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that too. Once I learned how to find the deals, I was never going to run out of people who didn't want a deal. So it really was kind of a cool, like, aha moment for me. It seemed like something I could do. I mean, basically, if you could make a friend or throw out a compliment, or as I like to say, even fog a mirror, you could wholesale from the sounds of things. I mean, he had me sold, and that's kind of how I got started in it. From here, I'm a little bit lost at where to go, what way I want to take you. I should have scripted all this out and written it, but I wanted to go off the cuff a little. So I'm going to take a moment and collect my thoughts and visit the men's room and shit. This is supposed to be professional. I'll edit this out later. Note to self: edit this out later. Okay, I'm back from my little potty break, I guess. Hopefully I'll remember to edit this out as well. It was really kind of stupid as I got to thinking about it that I ended the last one telling myself to edit something out later, but chances are, if it's at the end of the thing, I'm not going to get to it to hear it, and then I'll forget to edit it out. So, back at it. I promise I'm going to keep my nose to the grind here. So where was I? Oh, yeah, I was swearing about it. How stupid I was to mention I had to go to the men's room. All right. So what was I was trying to figure out what I needed to tell you guys next, or what I should tell you guys next. I could tell you about how I did my first deal, and what that entailed, and how I finally got over the hump. But I guess before I do that, I guess I should share how I ended up bridging that gap between what I like to call information masturbation, where you're just reading a bunch of information for no purpose other than having more information, it seems. How I jumped from that information masturbation stage into how I jumped into bed with wholesaling basically and started doing some damn deals. And it's a critical lesson for anybody, especially if you're anything like I was and you're stuck in analysis paralysis, or as I now call it, getting ready to get ready, preparing to prepare. We're all guilty of it to some degree. I'm still guilty of it in a lot of rights because this whole guru thing especially. There's all kinds of new things I need to learn if I actually want to give this a real go. And so I'm always learning more stuff and not using it. Of course, I probably should have studied a course on how to deliver high quality content, but I didn't. So I guess I should start at wholesaling wasn't like something I got immediately. I bought some courses once this guy had described the process and gotten it sunk deep into my brain that I could do it, and that the only thing standing between me and doing deals and making a life for myself and my wife that I really wanted was basically understanding a process and then implementing that process. And once I tried my best, believe me, to procrastinate and not do it. But luckily, when you're bouncing along the bottom and your wife is ready to literally kill you because you're not producing and you're not getting a job per se, it really kind of forced me to get up off my information and start doing some deals. And once I started doing deals, what was amazing, and it kind of pissed me off a little, was I started to realize that all along I'd been sold basically a big fat lie, that making money really isn't that hard. Or as I alluded to earlier, that investing really isn't a rich man's game. It was like, damn it, man, I could do this. I didn't need to waste all my time procrastinating because it wasn't fun. It's never fun to procrastinate. It always seems like a good alternative relative to the pain that we think that something is going to bring to our lives. But for me, it was like once I got past that little threshold of like something could suck, and I basically got by it because life was really going to suck if I didn't get by it. It was easy. Once I understood, and for lack of a better word, and I hate using it because it sounds so cliche, but once I started using and implementing the formulas that I had put in place from between my studying and my mentor and my own observation, I became pretty convinced that I could do it and I could have as much money as I wanted. And to this day, that's my philosophy. But keep in mind, when I say want, I mean like want at such a deep level that want almost feels necessary for your survival. In my case, it was necessary for my survival because if I didn't make some money fast, like I was saying, my wife was going to kill me. Or the only other alternative was to settle for one of those real jobs. And if I had to do that, it's very, very likely that I would have wanted to kill myself. I probably wouldn't have done it because I'm a little smarter than that, but I probably would have felt like it for a vast majority of my life. And when you fast forward to where I am now and why I'm here teaching you, and now it's because, I close deals whenever I want to. Whenever I want to, because I really want to. It's one of the top priorities in my life right now. Learning, teaching other people is second to my own business, I'll admit. But teaching you how I do it, it's always just been something that I've wanted to do, was to offer to help people. And up until I discovered wholesaling, there wasn't really much I could help people with other than teaching you how to be lazy or a hopeless dreamer. You would have been kind of out of luck if you came to me for any lessons. But right now closing deals is what I do. And as sad as this to admit, lately, it's even gotten to the point where it's affecting my health, and I don't advise this. But I mean, I've gone to the gym most of my adult life, and I stopped going to the gym. I stopped eating right because I was always out chasing deals. I mean, for a while there, I was trying to uphold this insane amount of deals every month, and it basically just, I don't know why. It's not like I needed the money anymore. It's almost like today I'm getting paid like a pro athlete, but I'm about as far from a pro athlete as you could get in terms of my shape. And I mean, basically right now I walk, talk, and breathe wholesaling. I'm hoping that the insanity will stop here soon, because now my wife is no longer mad at me about being a broke dick, or edit that out. She's mad at me because I'm always doing deals, and I'm hoping, and she asks me, comes right on to, when is this insanity going to stop? I mean, we don't need that much more money. We live pretty simple. For a couple months back, things started to taper off. I started doing good with it. And, I was closing 5 or 6 deals a month. No big deal. But since the end of July of this year, when my wife found out she was pregnant, thank you, my junk works, and pregnant with our first child. For some reason, it's been on like Donkey Kong since then. By no means am I complaining that doing a ton of deals every month and making endless sums of cash is a pain in the butt. I'm not complaining at all. I just want you to think of it more as a warning that once you figure out this stuff, the money can be as addictive as hell, especially when not too far in the distant past you were flat broke. And I mean, I was pleading for my mom for grocery money because we didn't have it. For a while we didn't even have gas at our house, which was not, I won't go into that, but it wasn't a good situation. And I mean, even if you aren't as broke as I was and in the terrible situation that I was, money's pretty damn addictive either way. And one of the things that I've found, and it's kind of a second bonus to wholesaling and makes money really addictive, is the money in wholesaling is so addictive, I think, because you don't have to sell your soul to earn it. When I look at someone, the guy who works his ass off so he can get rich and buy a Ferrari, so he can drive the Ferrari to work, so he can pay for the Ferrari, that is not being rich to me. Being rich is working a couple hours a week, buying the damn Ferrari, and then spending the rest of your time enjoying the Ferrari. But most people go about that completely wrong. And what they do is they bust their ass for 6 years. They buy the Ferrari. They got the Ferrari payments. And then they go to work every day to pay for the Ferrari that they get to drive to work. And there's something that you can't quite enjoy about a Ferrari if every day you're slaving away. I mean, basically, as someone once told me, when you buy a Rolex, the first $4 is to tell time, and the second 10,000 is so someone goes, "Wow, cool watch." For me, at least, no amount of selling my soul to the devil or some schmuck who wants to boss me around is worth having a cool car. And that's one of the things that I think that has really hooked me in. Oh, where was I? I always start with these amazing things, and I feel like I just go off on. As one of my college professors used to say, I think they call it rhymatization. It's like a potato where you start out with a core thought, and then you root off in different ways, but I never actually make it back. A little 10-minute break here. If you were at one of my seminars, if I actually did seminars, I guess this is where we would take an intermission or an interlude. I'll be back in a moment to explain how I did my first deal and how we can get you beyond that stage of information masturbation and jumping into bed with wholesaling and starting to make you some damn money. I'll see you in a second.